Coronavirus. What the heck is it and what is it doing to us? Well, what's up, students? It is a crazy time to be alive, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now that I don't know. We just found out we're going to be out of school longer. Things are going crazy. What do we do? What do we do? As if it couldn't get any crazier, now we got a tornado siren going on. You know, just add it to the list. It's okay. I don't know if any of y'all are like me, but I have found it very difficult to find the motivation to work out. I mean, I really enjoy working out. It's something I like to do. I don't like to run. You know, this machine right there, not necessarily my best friend, but my wife loves it. But I like to work out. The problem is I've had zero desire lately. I don't want to eat right. I don't want to exercise. I mean, I want to, but then I get up here to do it, and I may do a little bit, and that's about it. The reality is, if I'm going to exercise, if I'm going to do the things that I need to do, that I know my body needs, then I've got to be intentional. Now, the thing about being intentional is being intentional requires thought. It requires us thinking through what we're going to do. So if I'm going to work out, I have to dress properly. I have to put on shorts, and I have to put on tennis shoes, and I have to come upstairs and get ready to work out. So unless I'm willing to do that and put in thought, then I'm not really being intentional. So my question to you is, how can we be intentional during this time that we have? Yes, we're stuck at home. Nobody wants to be there, but this is also a time where we have a lot of freedom. We have a lot of things that we've been forced to do, like baseball or activities or practices or any kind of extracurriculars. A lot of those we don't have anymore. And so now we have all this extra time on our hands, and we can choose to either waste that and spend all our day in front of a TV watching Netflix or YouTube, or doing whatever we want, or we can be very intentional with it. So here's what I want to do today. I want to give us 5 things that we can do to be intentional during this time that we have in our lives, where we are being forced to drop some of the busyness and to slow down, to rest, and to focus on what we really need to focus on. So let's jump into those 5 things. All right, number 1, focus on your relationship with Jesus during this time. Usually the main reason we fail to spend time with God is because we replace it with busyness. And so now that we have an opportunity to really develop new habits, we can begin to spend more time with Jesus by diving into His Word, by praying, by listening to worship music, and being very intentional with how we use our time to grow in our relationship with Jesus, right? So I was reading earlier today in 2 Timothy 1:7, and it said this: "For I have not given you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, of love, and of self-discipline." Now that seems to go pretty good along with what we're talking about being intentional. With all the craziness going on, it's very easy for us to be afraid. It's very easy for us to have uncertainty and not know what's going on, and to let that uncertainty shake us and make us afraid. But Jesus said, look, I haven't given you this spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of self-discipline. So use those things. Use the things I've given you, and go and make a difference during this time instead of letting fear control us. Listen, fear doesn't just disappear. We have it, but we can learn to control it. And just because Jesus has given us self-discipline and love and power doesn't mean we're automatically going to use it. We have to choose to. Everything that we do is a choice. So during this time, are you going to be disciplined enough to work on your relationship with Jesus? We're going to end up doing we're going to put some Bible studies out that we can do together that will go along with teachings that we do in the future. Those are great things that we as a church can do and we can walk through together. I may hop on Instagram and each day just kind of give you my thoughts on those. And here, I would love to hear your thoughts. How cool would it be if you spend time with Jesus and then you shoot a video of here's what Jesus is teaching me. And then you either send that to me or, I don't know if there's a way for you to add that to the community student story. I'm still learning Instagram. I'm old. It's okay. But how cool would it be if we start putting up your stories of what God is teaching you on your stories, on your Insta stories, or we add them up onto the community students' Insta stories and let people start seeing that even through this time, we can still grow in our relationship with Jesus. We can still be intentional about that. And God can still begin to move in our lives. That's what I want to encourage you to do. That's the first thing that we need to focus on during this time is work on your relationship with Jesus. Take some time. Spend time in prayer. Spend time just putting on some music and just listening and letting it just wash over you and letting God speak to you. You will be amazed at what happens. All right, that's number one. Let's jump to number two. What would it look like to serve and care for others during this time? All right, I know that's kind of tricky in how we can do that. But I'm sure there are a lot of creative ways that we could think of where we can actually serve other people and think of others during this time instead of just focusing on ourselves, right? So is there somebody that you can go shopping for that maybe they're elderly and they're afraid to get out? Or are there parents who still have to work and their kids are stuck at home? Maybe you can go and you can babysit for them or you can tutor because they're still having to do school. And some of the schoolwork, let me be honest, we parents don't know it. It is changed. It is different. We don't understand it. So maybe that's a way that you can serve. But be thinking about that. How can I still care for others during this time? Because what did it say? God has given us a spirit of love. So I want to continue to love on others. I want to continue to be there for people. I want to continue to think about how I can bring the love of Jesus to other people, even though we can't meet together. And let's just continue to love and care for people. On to number three. Invest in your family. Now, this one may be the hardest for us to do of all of them, but you have a time right now where you can really grow as a family or whoever it is that you live with. Maybe you have siblings. It would mean the world to them if you actually took the time to play with them, to do something that they want to do, to play a board game, to show interest in them, to watch a movie. What would it look like to actually sit and talk with your parents instead of just hiding in your room all day? All right? Use this as an opportunity to grow together as a family because here's the reality of it all. Our time with our family is limited. So use this time that you have now to focus on family, to work on building relationships, break down walls and barriers, and find ways to grow together as a family. Because this is an opportunity that you have that you can grab a hold of and you can be intentional with. And I promise you, if you do this, if you actually go start talking to your parents or you start spending time with your siblings without just picking on them and throwing them across the room, you're going to notice a big difference and they're going to see something different in you. So utilize this time. Make a difference. Focus on your family and just begin to see what it does. Now that leads us to number 4. Invest in yourself. As you can see, I'm kind of bobbing up and down. I'm on this elusive elliptical that I don't like very much. But it's important to invest in yourself. It's important to take time to exercise, or it's important to read a book or learn a new skill. This is an opportunity you have to learn a new skill. I'll tell you one that I'm learning right now is making videos and learning how to edit. All right, I've spent the last 2 days watching tutorials on how to use Adobe Premiere so that I can edit together videos that aren't boring. And listen, it's gonna take some time. There's a lot there. Somebody start watching some tutorials on Adobe Premiere so that you can start helping me with these videos. If that's God speaking to you right there, go ahead and start watching those videos. But you can learn a new skill during this time. So what would it look like to improve on yourself? What are some things that you've always wanted to do, but maybe you've never really had the chance to do them? Now would be a great time to learn that. One of the things I did with Tanner this week is he wanted to learn how to make eggs. So I taught him how to make scrambled eggs. So now Tanner can make scrambled eggs all on his own. You know, we're finding ways to spend time together, and we're finding ways to learn new things. And so during this time, be intentional about your personal growth. Don't let it waste. Think of things that, where do you want to be? What are some things that you want to do when this is all said and done that were going to help your future? If you want to be a leader, start listening to leadership podcasts and developing as a leader. And so use this time and be intentional about growing. Find the books you want to read. Find the things that and the person you want to become, and start doing those things. And little by little, you'll learn a little bit here. You'll learn a little bit there. Listen, there are tons of stuff on YouTube if you want to find and learn a new skill. But outside of that, figure out what you want to do. How can you become better? And be intentional about focusing on yourself and making yourself a better person. And number 5, invest in community. We are created to be in community. We need each other. That's how God designed us. And when we're stuck away from each other like this, it drives us nuts. So one of the things that we've done to help with this, because we can't meet as community students, is we will be getting on a Zoom call on Sunday nights. Junior high, we will get on at 6 o'clock. High school, we'll get on at 7:30. But a Zoom call is basically where we can get face-to-face just like this and we can have a conversation. It's just like FaceTime, but we can get a bunch of people on there. And when we get on there, we're going to break out into breakout rooms so that you can actually spend time with your small group. And so when you do that, yes, you're going to have fun, you're going to goof off, but also talk about these teaching videos. How are you going to be intentional? We are here as community students to be there for each other, to support one another, and that's what we want to do for you. So be intentional about investing in community and not giving up on your relationships. Even though we can't be in person, we can still be there for each other, and we can still support each other, and we can still grow in our relationship with Jesus. So there you have it. 5 things that you can do during this quarantine period that will help you become a better person. And I promise if you do these things, you will be much better on the other side of this. And you will grow as a person, you will develop better relationships, you will grow in your relationship with Jesus, and things will just be, how God intended them to be, right? And remember, self-discipline is a choice. Being intentional is a choice. These things are not going to come easily. It is going to take you choosing to do each one of them, choosing to set aside time to spend with God, choosing to spend time with your family, choosing to jump on the Zoom call and be in community even though you may have something else you want to do, or you might be in the middle of a video game. Press pause, put it down, jump on the Zoom call, have some fun with some people, and then you can get back to it. And listen, when it's all said and done, we're going to get together, we're going to have laughs, we're going to talk about this, but we're also going to talk about how much we've grown and how much better people we are because we've been intentional about using our time wisely and loving people and using the self-discipline that God has already given us. So tap into that. I love you guys. Can't wait to see you in person. But until then, I'll see you Sunday night on the Zoom call. See ya.